What if waking up at 3 a.m. is not random at all, but one of the only moments your mind can finally speak without interruption? Almost everyone has experienced it. You wake up suddenly in the middle of the night. The room is dark. Everything is silent. You check the clock, and it says 3:07 a.m. And for some reason, your thoughts immediately become louder than they felt all day. Old memories return. Regrets begin replaying. Conversations you thought you forgot suddenly feel fresh again. The future starts looking uncertain. Small worries somehow feel massive. And no matter how hard you try, your mind refuses to go quiet again. Most people think this moment means something is wrong with them. Some even believe it is mysterious or supernatural. But the truth may be much more human than that. Waking up at 3 a.m. may actually reveal what your mind has been trying to tell you for a very long time. During the day, life moves too fast for people to hear themselves clearly. Notifications never stop. Work demands attention. Social media fills every empty second. Conversations, responsibilities, stress, deadlines, noise, movement, and distractions keep the brain occupied from morning until night. Most people never truly sit alone with their emotions anymore. They stay busy because staying busy feels safer than slowing down. But the moment night arrives, something changes. The world becomes quiet. The distractions disappear. And suddenly, the thoughts that were buried underneath the noise begin rising to the surface. That is why nighttime thoughts often feel so intense. It is not because those thoughts suddenly appeared. They were already there the entire time. Silence simply gave them room to speak. And for many people, that silence feels uncomfortable because it removes the emotional mask they wear throughout the day. At night, there is no performance, no pretending, no distraction strong enough to drown out what is happening internally. You are left alone with yourself. And that can feel terrifying when you have spent months or even years avoiding certain emotions. What makes this experience even more powerful is how specific the mind becomes during the night. People do not usually overthink random things at 3 a.m. The brain often returns to emotional wounds that were never fully processed. Maybe it is the fear of failure you keep hiding behind productivity. Maybe it is loneliness you never admitted to yourself. Maybe it is exhaustion from constantly trying to appear strong for everyone else. Or maybe it is grief for a version of yourself that no longer exists. The mind keeps returning to these emotional patterns because unresolved emotions do not disappear simply because they are ignored. They wait quietly beneath the surface until there is finally enough silence for them to be noticed again. Psychologists have long understood that the subconscious mind stores more than people realize. It records stress, fear, pressure, rejection, embarrassment, shame, loneliness, unspoken anger, unmet emotional needs, even the dreams people slowly abandoned over time. Many people assume that if they stop thinking about something consciously, it no longer affects them emotionally. But the brain does not work that way. Ignored emotions often continue affecting the nervous system long after the conscious mind moves on. And nighttime is when those hidden emotional signals become harder to suppress. There's also a scientific side to all of this. Waking up briefly during the night is actually very common. Human sleep naturally moves through different stages, including lighter periods of REM sleep where brief awakenings can happen. Stress hormones can also affect sleep quality, especially when someone has been emotionally overwhelmed for long periods of time. But what matters is not only the physical wake-up itself. What matters is what happens immediately after. The body wakes up for a moment, and the mind instantly begins searching for emotional meaning. That is when the spiral begins. The reason this happens so intensely at night is because the brain processes emotional information differently in darkness and isolation. During the daytime, the logical part of the brain stays heavily engaged with tasks and distractions. But late at night, emotional processing becomes stronger. That is why fears often feel more believable at 3 a.m. than they do at 3 p.m. The same problem suddenly feels heavier. The same uncertainty suddenly feels dangerous. and the same emotional wound suddenly feels impossible to escape. For many people, the real issue is not the night itself. The real issue is emotional exhaustion. Modern life has normalized constant mental overload. People wake up tired, rush through the day exhausted, suppress stress to remain functional, then repeat the cycle again tomorrow. Eventually, the nervous system stops believing the "I'm fine" story people tell themselves. The body starts reacting differently. Sleep becomes lighter. Anxiety becomes stronger. Small stressors feel overwhelming. And the mind begins sounding alarms during the quietest hours of the night, because that is the only time it can finally get your attention. One of the most important things to understand is that the thoughts keeping you awake are often not the true source of pain. Someone may lie awake worrying about money, but deep underneath that fear may be a feeling of inadequacy or fear of falling behind in life. Another person may obsess over a relationship, but the deeper wound may actually be fear of abandonment. Someone else may feel anxious about the future when the real pain comes from grieving the version of themselves they thought they would become by now. Surface worries are often emotional disguises hiding deeper fears underneath them. That is why asking, "Why am I awake?" may not actually help. A better question might be, what feeling keeps returning every night? Because the subconscious mind often communicates through repeated emotional patterns. The same fears, the same regrets, the same insecurities, the same unresolved pain. And until those emotions are acknowledged honestly, the mind keeps revisiting them repeatedly. Many people spend years running from emotional discomfort without realizing how much energy it consumes. They distract themselves with entertainment, endless scrolling, overworking, constant productivity, noise, relationships. Even motivation itself sometimes becomes a distraction from emotional truth. But the subconscious notices everything. It notices when you are emotionally exhausted. It notices when you feel disconnected from yourself. It notices when you constantly prioritize survival over healing. And sometimes, the only moment it can finally reach you is when the world becomes completely silent. This is also why some people fear nighttime so deeply. They're not afraid of darkness itself. They're afraid of hearing themselves clearly. They're afraid of sitting alone with thoughts they have spent years suppressing. Because once the distractions disappear, people are forced to confront emotions they can no longer outrun. And that confrontation can feel overwhelming when someone has spent most of their life avoiding vulnerability. Globally, this experience has become increasingly common. Anxiety, burnout, emotional isolation, and chronic stress are rising across the world. Millions of people are constantly connected digitally while feeling emotionally disconnected internally. People have more distractions than ever before, yet many feel more mentally exhausted than previous generations. Sleep problems, nighttime anxiety, and emotional burnout are no longer rare experiences. They are becoming part of modern life itself. And that is why conversations like this matter so much. Because many people think they are weak for struggling internally, when in reality their mind may simply be overloaded from carrying too much for too long. The nervous system plays a massive role in why nighttime anxiety feels so real. When someone lives under constant stress, the body slowly adapts to survival mode. Heart rate stays elevated longer. Muscles remain tense. Breathing becomes shallow. The brain becomes hyper-alert, constantly scanning for danger even when no immediate threat exists. Over time, the body forgets how to fully relax. So when the environment finally becomes quiet at night, the nervous system does not always interpret that silence as peace. Sometimes it interprets silence as vulnerability, and that is when anxiety begins rising rapidly. This explains why many people suddenly feel panic during the night, even when nothing dangerous is happening around them. Their body is reacting to accumulated emotional stress rather than external danger. The brain simply tries to attach those uncomfortable sensations to something logical. That is why nighttime thoughts often become catastrophic. The mind desperately searches for explanations. What if my future falls apart? What if I never succeed? What if I am wasting my life? What if people leave me? The brain keeps generating scenarios because anxious nervous systems constantly seek certainty, but there is something important hidden underneath those fears. Most people are not actually afraid of the exact thought they are thinking about at 3 a.m. They are afraid of the emotion connected to it. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of losing control, fear of being emotionally unseen. These emotional wounds are often much older than the current problem itself. Sometimes they began years earlier through painful experiences, disappointments, criticism, emotional neglect, or repeated stress. The nighttime mind simply exposes what was already unresolved internally. That is why healing cannot happen through distraction alone. Many people try to silence nighttime anxiety by constantly escaping themselves. They immediately reach for their phones. They scroll endlessly. They turn on videos to avoid sitting with silence. They panic after checking the clock and calculating how little sleep they have left. But ironically, the harder people fight the experience emotionally, the more intense it often becomes. The nervous system interprets panic as confirmation that danger exists, and the cycle continues. One of the healthiest things a person can do during these moments is stop treating themselves like the enemy. Instead of immediately thinking, "What is wrong with me?" it can be more helpful to ask, "What has my mind been trying to process that I never slowed down long enough to feel?" That small shift changes everything. It transforms the experience from self-judgment into self-awareness. This does not mean every 3 a.m. wake-up is purely emotional. Physical causes absolutely matter too. Anxiety disorders, poor sleep habits, excessive caffeine, alcohol, sleep apnea, digestion problems, hormonal changes, medications, chronic pain, and stress-related insomnia can all contribute to nighttime awakenings. Mental health struggles should never be ignored or romanticized. If someone feels chronically exhausted, emotionally overwhelmed, or unable to function properly, professional support can be incredibly important. True, healing often requires caring for both the body and the mind together. But emotionally speaking, nighttime awakenings can still reveal valuable truths. They can expose how disconnected someone has become from their own emotional needs. Many people spend years functioning efficiently while slowly abandoning themselves internally. They ignore exhaustion because responsibilities feel more urgent. They suppress sadness because survival demands strength. They silence emotional pain because they fear appearing weak. Eventually, the body starts whispering what the conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. And the body always whispers before it screams. That may be one of the deepest truths behind waking up at 3 a.m. Sometimes the mind is not trying to punish you. Sometimes it is trying to reconnect you with yourself before emotional burnout becomes even worse. It is trying to show you the stress you normalized, the loneliness you minimized, the exhaustion you ignored, the emotional wounds you buried under productivity and distraction. There's also something strangely human about how vulnerable people become at night. During the daytime, identity feels attached to performance. People feel valuable because they are busy, productive, useful, successful, or needed by others. But nighttime strips all of that away. At 3 a.m., nobody is performing anymore. There are no achievements protecting you from yourself. No social roles distracting you. No external validation. Just you, your thoughts, and whatever emotions have been waiting quietly underneath the surface all along. And maybe that is why these moments feel so emotionally intense. Because they force honesty. The kind of honesty people rarely allow themselves during normal life. Honesty about burnout. Honesty about emotional pain. Honesty about loneliness. Honesty about fear. Honesty about how tired someone truly feels internally. But this is where healing can begin too. Not through panicking, not through self-hatred, not through trying to instantly solve your entire life in the middle of the night. Healing often begins with awareness, with listening instead of fighting, with recognizing that your mind and body may not be betraying you at all. They may simply be asking for attention after being ignored for too long. Simple actions can help calm the nervous system during these moments. Keeping lights dim, breathing slowly and deeply, avoiding overstimulation from phones, writing thoughts down instead of spiraling endlessly inside your head, reminding yourself that feelings are temporary, reminding yourself that exhaustion magnifies emotion. Most importantly, reminding yourself that you are safe even when your thoughts feel loud. Because thoughts are not always truth. Especially at 3 a.m., the exhausted brain tends to distort perspective. Problems appear larger. Fears appear more permanent. Emotions appear more catastrophic. But morning often changes perception completely. That alone reveals something important. The night is not necessarily exposing objective reality. It is exposing emotional overload that has not been processed properly yet. And globally, more people are experiencing this than ever before. Modern society rewards constant stimulation while leaving very little room for emotional recovery. People are expected to stay productive even when mentally exhausted. Many feel pressure to constantly improve, compete, succeed, and appear emotionally stable regardless of what they are carrying internally. Over time, emotional suppression becomes normalized, but the subconscious mind never stops recording what the body experiences emotionally. Eventually, silence reveals everything people were too busy to notice. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., maybe stop asking, "Why can't I sleep?" And instead, ask something deeper. What have I been carrying emotionally that I never allowed myself to fully feel? Because sometimes the mind is not interrupting your sleep to hurt you. Sometimes it is trying to help you reconnect with the parts of yourself you abandoned while trying to survive. And maybe the real healing begins the moment you finally stop running from your own emotional truth. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on what your mind may have been trying to tell you lately. Share your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if it helped you understand yourself differently. And subscribe for more deep psychological insights that help you reconnect with your mind, emotions, and inner life.